And we welcome you to this new edition of Riverkings Hockey here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We're going to be spending the first part of our program today meeting 8 of the Riverkings, learning about a recent trip that they made to a special tournament in Boston, their participation in November, and also going to be talking about their plans for Thanksgiving. So you're going to get a chance here over the next few minutes to meet some of the Riverkings in a very personal way. I've got Eric Hershaw with me. I've got Marty Quarters with me. Guys, I want to hear about that Boston tournament. It was what was the experience like overall?
It was a good team bonding experience to go to Boston and fly together, which we normally don't get to do. We usually take buses year-round, so and it was fun going to 2 college games also.
Who'd you see there?
We saw Merrimack against UMass Amherst, and then we saw UMass Lowell against Maine.
Austin, talk to us a little bit about the level of competition that you faced out there and compare it to what we're used to seeing here at your home rink and the teams in your own league.
I mean, it was definitely kind of an eye-opener because, there was a lot more speed out there on the East Coast, more than what we're used to, and a lot of teams kind of played like us, would use their speed to their advantage out there.
So. What did you learn about yourselves and as a team about taking on that level of competition?
I mean, we learned that we can compete with that level, but we also learned that we have a lot of things to work on.
So let's talk about November is an effort in which men will let their facial hair grow across the month to make awareness of men's health issues and the things that we as men need to be watching out for and taking care of. So guys, just talk about the team effort, the team participation in that.
Oh, it's been going very well. As you can see, I can't really grow facial hair, so I'm not the one to look at when it comes to that.
Is there some competition in that locker room about who's going to turn out the best at the end of the month, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say our youngest guy, Kurt LePack, kind of has the full beard going, so I think he'll probably win that competition.
Okay. Now we're coming up, as we tape this, we're just a week away from the holiday. You play a couple of games this weekend, and then you'll get the chance to celebrate the holiday, but it's right back to action the next day. Talk about fitting a holiday in here amidst the busy schedule.
Yeah, definitely a light Thanksgiving with my billet family and some friends and family in town. So,
wonderful. How about you?
Yeah, just gonna keep it light, eat with the family and the roommates, and get ready for the game the next day.
Right. We're going to meet a couple of more Riverkings in just a moment as we continue with Riverkings hockey here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. The next 2 Riverkings that we're going to meet on the program today are Max Bork and Wilma Gouffran. Guys, we want to talk about the same subjects that we've been talking about throughout this segment. What did you learn on that trip to Boston? Was it a great experience to go out there and play?
Well, obviously it was a great experience. The guys played well for some part of the game, but we saw that we had things to learn to be able to be better, to be more competitive out there, to win a championship.
Will, is that the kind of thing where you learn where you got to raise your game to compete with the very best?
Yeah, of course, when you play at that level, you realize that you can't get complacent and you always got to be working to get better.
So Max, what would you say, what was your strongest takeaway, whether it was a part of the trip, whether it was a part of the time on the ice, just what was the strongest takeaway from the journey for you?
Well, we obviously was to learn mostly, like we learned a lot on the ice playing with these guys because it was totally a different style of play. So our strongest thing that happened was basically to learn plays and to see how things are out there.
Well, will that test team chemistry when you're raising the level of play, you're playing against an even higher level of competition than you normally do?
Yeah, whenever you face adversity, your team has to come together, and it just makes us better and makes us bond more by going through that.
Great. So let's talk about November now and what the team is doing. Is that something that brings the team together too when you participate in something like that, Max?
Obviously, it's always a fun time to see guys growing their beard and stuff. We have lots of fun picking on each other, saying, oh, you don't have one, and it's a fun time, a little competition between the team, whether who's going to get the best beard at the end of the month. So it's a fun time.
That's just like the pro playoffs, though, because the Stanley Cup guys, that's a tradition to grow a beard during playoff time, so you can kind of connect on that level, too.
Yeah, for sure. We see those guys do it every year, and it's kind of fun to take part in it also on our little November.
Now, are you guys looking forward to getting back on this sheet of ice? Because by the time you play your next home game after Thanksgiving, it's going to be 21 days between home games, and that's a pretty extended stretch. Are you looking forward to getting some more home ice games coming up here soon?
Of course, we're looking forward to play at home, but now we got to focus on our games on the road and think on our next shift and what's coming up next, and focus and be ready for our next game against the Dell this weekend.
And that's a rival. The Dells is a rival, isn't it, for the River Kings, Will?
Yeah, they're closest team to us, and we know a lot about them, and we play them a lot, so, naturally we just don't like each other very much.
And both programs are really good, so, I mean, you're competing for important stuff when you play them.
Yeah, always. We're always right there, 1 and 2, and every game counts.
So stay tuned. We're going to meet some more River Kings after a very short timeout on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We're with our third set of River Kings as we bring you this edition of River Kings Hockey on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We have Antonio Demek and we have Adam Peterson. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Almost forgot that. I was working on this guy's name so hard, I almost forgot. Guys, tell us about Boston. Was it an exciting trip?
Yeah, I mean, it was always exciting, but I mean, we know we could have done better. We went 2-2, but those 2 games that we lost are really going to be learning, and we just got to bounce back, focus on our next games this upcoming weekend, and just play that much harder and use those games as motivation.
What can you learn from a loss? Because as fans, sometimes we don't get that.
Yeah.
But I know as players, you can learn from a loss. What kind of things can you learn from a loss?
I mean, in those 2 specific games, we came out really slow, and we gave up a couple quick goals, which kind of dug us a deep hole, which we couldn't really get back out of. So, I mean, we got to come out ready to play right away and just be relentless on our forecheck and just keep pounding them the entire game.
What's the high point of the trip for you?
High point was probably just seeing the competition we're going to be facing if we make it back out there for nationals. We know what we're going to be up against, and we know what we have to work on and improve to get better, so we have a chance at achieving our main goal, which is a national championship.
Guys, what did it feel like to fly? I mean, you get on a plane to go to a game. That doesn't happen every day. It's usually bus rides. So was it pretty cool to hop on a plane knowing you're on that plane to go play a game?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I mean, everybody's a lot of kids have flown somewhere with their family on vacation and stuff, but it was really a cool experience to fly with our teammates and just be around everybody for so long and hang out in the hotel and stuff. It was just a great experience for everybody.
How about for you?
It was just a great bonding experience being with the guys on a plane. You learn something new about someone you're on a plane with them for 2 hours. Like Will, he never flown before, so it was pretty cool seeing his first flight. He was shaking in his boots.
Yeah. So tell me about your plan. We got a big holiday coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up on the 24th. And I know it's kind of hard because you got games the weekend before, you got games the day after. How do you focus on hockey and still enjoy the fact that it's the holidays?
Well, I mean, we mainly got to focus on our games, yeah, but we're still going to enjoy a little dinner at the house with my roommates and the family, but our main focus is to get back on those games because that ultimately is the main goal, and that'll come around at the end of the season. We won't be really thinking about their Thanksgiving dinner. We'll be thinking about those games that we had at that weekend.
Same for you. How about the holidays? What are the plans?
Plans, just have some dinner with my roommates, try to enjoy it, but we also got to be prepared, getting our rest for the games that we have the next days coming up. Main focus is the games, but it's also good to have that time off and enjoy the holidays.
So guys, tell me about playing the Dells, because you got 2 big games coming up down there. And you've gotten the jump on them so far. You're 3-0 out of 6 games that you'll play. Is there any risk of you guys losing your edge against them having won the first 3? Or are you, because it's such a rival and such an important game, no chance of that?
I mean, I think we're pretty confident. I mean, we just came out of a nice weekend in Boston. I think we're getting back up to speed, and I think we shouldn't have a problem if we play the way we should play, fast, hard, and physical. I think we should go 4-0 and 5-0 on the weekend.
Sounds pretty focused. I take it that's pretty much reflects the team attitude.
Yep. If we just come out and play the way we know how, because we've played them before, we know how we have to play them. And if we just do what we need to do, take care of business, we should come out on top this weekend.
Gentlemen, enjoy the holiday, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
We've got one more set of River Kings you're going to meet right after a short time out on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. And We're going to meet two more River Kings now as we conclude this segment of River Kings hockey, meeting the players. We've got Eric Schutte, goaltender. We've got Jacob Taylor with us, and you're going to meet them and learn about the trip to Boston and some other things that are going on. Eric, tell us now about, first of all, we want to learn about the trip to Boston. Take us there. What were the highlights for you? What was the big stuff for you?
A lot of fun was going to the two Division I college hockey games. Went to the Merrimack game and then the UMass Lowell game, and those are such a different experience because, I mean, it's Division I hockey. Those kids are very good. You know, some of them you'll see at the professional level, so it was a lot of fun to sit there and kind of view. Personally, I watch the goaltenders a lot, see what they're doing, and try to pick up some tips for my game.
Okay. Jacob, how about for you?
I'd have to say definitely learning from the D1 defense. You know, just learning the fact of how they run the plays and how they look up and keep the play going and how they follow with the play.
So what guys, did you learn about your team? Now, you had a great experience, a great personal experience, but what did you learn about your team that can get you back to that city, which is your goal at the end of this season?
I mean, we learned that we got to come out hard in every game. It's not going to be easy, and no team's really just going to be like, yeah, here, have the game. You know, we're going to have to come up, work hard, outwork the other team especially, and it should be all good in the end if that's the case.
I have a question in specific for you. I know that forwards and defensemen, I can understand how they can get skating and get a fast start in a game. How does a goaltender get into a game? How do you get to where you really feel like you're in it at the right level of focus and energy?
Really, it starts in warm-ups, preparation before the game, you know, showing up to the rink early, getting the right mindset, then in warm-ups, feeling the puck. And when you get into the game, it helps to have a couple of longer shots to feel the puck in the game. And you can get into it, you know, make a few saves. And when you string them together, it's pretty easy. It's kind of like baseball, hitter on a hot streak. More hits in a row, the better. More saves in a row, you're feeling good. And just keep the confidence up, and it'll turn out pretty well for you.
Jacob, how do you get yourself in? How do you know when you're in the game the way you need to be and fast start?
Well, it's just all about how you take your warm-ups, really. And it's just, it'd be just, you know, feeling the puck and getting everything loose. You know, just getting that mindset of just, you know, how you're going to take on this team and get her done through the day.
Sometimes as fans, we hear for someone in your position as a defenseman, take that first hit, get involved in the physical side of the game. Does that help let you know you're in the game? And
Oh yeah, definitely. I love to hit. You know, nicknames out there. Back in my hometown, I was named PK. You know, definitely for a guy that loves to hit. So, you know, that's definitely me out there.
Right. So what about the Dells now? Rivals, important games. What's going on in your head as you look forward to the weekend and those matchups with the Dells?
I mean, we're going to take it the same as every game. We're going to work hard, be fast, hard, and physical on them. And we've had success on them in the past, but it's not going to dictate this game. You know, last game's win does not mean this game is going to be a win as well. So it's a new game.
How about for you, Jacob?
I'm going to do exactly what Schutte says. You know, we just got to take every single game as it is. You know, they're just any other team, really. Even though it's a rivalry, we still got to take them like any other team.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. You've met some of the River Kings, and in a second, we're going to talk with head coach Marty Quarters and get his take on how the season's going and the trip to Boston. Now visiting with head coach Marty Quarters of the River Kings as this edition of River Kings hockey continues. Coach, I'm curious, what was your motivation in taking this team to that tournament in Boston? Certainly there was some expense to fly your team out there, to keep your team there. You had to really see a lot of potential benefit to make that decision. Talk about you deciding to take your team out there.
Well, as a league, we have to go to one showcase. And that's part of being in the league to get that exposure. We were actually supposed to go in January with the Dells Ducks and Chicago Cougars, and our owner John Schwartz said it was really hard last year going 3 teams all to the same tournament. Anyone willing to stay back this year? And we volunteered. I've coached at Merrimack. I lived out there a couple years, so you know, we felt comfortable going out there, knowing the surroundings a little bit. And it's earlier in the season. We thought it would break up our season a little bit better too. And that was our main thing. But yeah, it's quite an expense. I mean, we have to rent cars out there. We're in hotels for, you know, 5 days, and yeah, it takes a lot.
That's a lot of work for you too. A lot of arrangements to make and to go through that trip. So, what did you learn about your hockey team? You went 2-2, but I think it was probably more valuable to you for what you learned about your hockey team.
Well, you never know what's going to expect, so you always have to make sure you're prepared and you're focused and you're mentally tough. And we went out there, you know, we had a little jet lag, we had a lead, we had a battle back, we won the first game, felt good about ourselves, showed some good character there. The second game was against a team that's not very strong, Team Beijing, and it was 7:10 in the morning, and then we had a quick turnaround and then play again at 4 in the afternoon against probably the best team we're going to play out there, Charlotte, and that was their only game of the day, but we're fine with that because we want to always challenge ourselves to see how good we can be because we want to get the Nationals and be well prepared. And we had a battle back, we lost a tough one there, and then the next day we didn't really show up. Came out slow. We had some calls that worked against us, and you never want to put the game in someone else's hands. You know, with the referee making calls or just how the other team is playing against you. So we need to get better at that, being a little bit more prepared and mentally focused. And we knew this week was going to challenge us on that. We wanted to come back 3-1 realistically. We came back 2-2. But you know, we have a big responsibility with being a first place team going out there because we want to show that the teams in the Midwest are just as strong as the teams in the East, and we think we did that somewhat, but we're not overly happy with our turnaround. We have high expectations in this locker room, and we expect to be better from the trip.
Now, talk to us about. You stated this on the program really since the summer. The goal is to get back to Boston and play for a national championship. Take us through the road. What does that look like? You want to win your league, that's first, but take us through the steps, Marty, to get back there.
Well, we want to finish first place overall, first or second, so we have home ice in the playoffs, which is a big bearing. You know, you get all 3 games at home, and then we just want to make sure we're healthy, we're getting good goaltending, we're prepared once we get out there and ready to go. And you know, I think that we have a good team that can do something here. Now it's how we battle through these times and how prepared we stay and how hard we're willing to work to, you know, everyone wants to be in first place. It's only the team that really works the hardest and pays a price that earns that and has some breaks along the way. So,
does winning the league qualify you to go to Boston?
No, you still have to win playoffs. So 2 teams go after playoffs. So we have to win 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then us and another team will travel out there.
Okay. Well, we're going to be watching that and following that, of course. Now, let's talk about, by the time you get back home on the 26th, you'll have gone 21 days between home games. What was you make the schedule. What's your purpose in doing that, Marty?
Green Bay Packers, you know, no, we don't have the, you know, we get a little bit bigger crowd when their season's not going on, but also with the high school events and a lot of stuff going around here, we want to kind of back end our schedule. So, you know, we're at home a little bit more. We get some of our tougher road trips out of the way, and then also, you know, be gearing up for the playoffs. And the more you play at home, the better your record should be. So we like to be really strong in the second half of the year.
Tell us about the rivalry with the Dells, because you know you're 2 of the top teams in the league, and you're playing for playoff home ice and a lot of different things. You got the jump at 3-0 out of 6 games. Talk to us about going down there for a pair.
Well, we're going to go 1 game at a time, and we really want to get that next win because that would give us home ice if it does come down to a tiebreaker. But you know, we need to be prepared. We're tired from a long trip. We got a lot of guys sick right now, and but that's going to happen during the season, and that's why you have good depth and good younger players that you play early on so that they're prepared for something like this. And you know, we should be ready to go. And if you're not geared up, you know, to play the Dallas Ducks, then you probably shouldn't get on a bus.
Okay. So I know that coaches think differently than the rest of us. Is having a holiday, is it almost a distraction that you've got to deal with?
Only if you make it one. You know, we really tried to change our game to Sunday, but we couldn't with the schedule, so we can play Saturday, Sunday. But you know, all the guys are here for hockey. Yeah, Thanksgiving's nice. You know, I'm sure I'll have a few guys over at my house as well, and you know, and it's nice to be able to spend time with your family and all that. But the guys know they made a sacrifice to come here. and that's just one of the sacrifices along the way.
That's head coach Marty Quarters of the Riverkings, back off of a successful trip to Boston and getting ready for a busy schedule again in December. I want to thank Art Napgezek, who is our producer and videographer for this program, and our editor. I'm Milton Van Natta. We'll see you again soon for another edition of Riverkings Hockey.